Hi guys, welcome back to another quick card pull. This is being filmed on Wednesday, July 15th, 2026. Today we're pulling from the Dragon Tarot. So highlighting the home again, we've been getting a lot of 444. So you may have like with myself projects. So I think like they're like things in chaos and it's like you know what I mean? It's just like they're like think smarter, not hard. Like work smarter, not harder. Well, they're saying think. But the thing is like with myself, it's like I could sit there and move everything back to feel comfortable, but it's just like what about if they come before like they did before, like yesterday they showed up out of nowhere, you know what I mean? So it's just like instead of doing all that, maybe I'll feel put things back to feel comfortable, which I was started to do last night, between breaks and stuff. But it's like that's what I feel like, they're saying work smarter, not harder. Like don't torment yourself if you don't have to, you know what I mean? I know it's like ugh, you just want to get it done, but you know what I mean? It's just sometimes we just got to go with the flow. But again, they're saying you have nothing to fear. You don't have to hold things close to your chest. This is not a time for anxiety. It is a new moon. So, retrograde, that'll start winding up next week, early next week. So I feel like the end of next week, that'll start shifting out of everybody's life if they've been going through that. Ten of Pentacles, if you've been asking a question, is absolutely yes. This is usually a card of, I feel like contentment. It's also surrounding the home, where we're saying they're like fearing things. Like, things are knocking around us, we got warnings and stuff like that. But it's just like, learn to, you know what I mean? Learn the lessons. You know what I mean? Lessons have been learned. Ten of Pentacles, you know what I mean? Absolute yes. Happy home, family, happy fur babies, happy children. It's like everything going back to what we're used to, getting comfortable again. After we got so uncomfortable with the purge, you know what I mean? And then we had, Mercury retrograde enter. So it's learning to cool things down. Nine of Cups, it's like we don't know what the future holds. Sometimes I'm like, okay, if this I'm like, you know what, don't even worry about that. It's just like, simple little things. But for with myself, especially right now, things are going to cool off. It gives us a break to recharge our energy. Yesterday was definitely, you know what I mean? Because I planned my day with, the information that I had, and then it didn't turn out that way. Maybe they just, finished a lot sooner than they thought they would. So it is what it is. It's hard not to future trip, and I'm thankful that Chris from the SIP shared that, like he was talking about that with his therapist, and it's like bringing, because sometimes we even like the week can be overwhelming, and with myself it was just like okay, they're coming, and it affects a lot of things that were going on, and my God, it was loud, but what are you gonna do, right? So that's what it's like last time we were cleaning up everything and you know what I mean? And like putting everything back together. But it's just like at the same time, I'm like, they're coming back in 2 weeks. So, you know what I mean? It's just like, what do you do, right? It's like, do you put everything back just to be like, keep your mind like, aesthetically pleasing? Or do you just be like, you know what? Let's recoup our energy. We can do other things. And then when they come back, at least it's easy peasy lemon squeezy again. Like it's not like, especially when they're coming out of nowhere. You know what I mean? It's just like, it just makes it simpler. So I feel like it's just like, with everything going on, it's just like keep it as easy breezy as possible, push up your priorities. Like I did not feel like cooking or anything. It was just like a whopper of a day yesterday. And it's just, I'm thankful that we got through it. Like, was it perfect? No. We argue? Yes. It was hot as hell, but at least today's cooler. Everybody showered and everything. And, keep moving forward. That's all we can do. So they're showing the lovers here, and I feel like that's when they. I love the fact that the snake is like intertwined there. There's also a flower. I've never seen that flower before, but I feel like the snake represents the snake. The tongue represents the snakes that you usually see, like the medical St. John's ambulance. If you live in Canada, they used to have the intertwined snakes together as their symbolism for the medical symbol. And I feel like that's what it is. It could be like a reconnection because, like, I feel like universe pushing you together. This could be a new connection. You never know. You know what I mean? I feel like you really got to take off the rose colored goggles here and really see it for what it is. You know what I mean? Because I feel like because there's still healing taking place, or you know what I mean? It's just like, the message that I got. So it's just that's in the back of my mind. And I'm very mindful of it, and they're also showing the episode of Grey's Anatomy, if you know, where Derek passes away Meredith goes away. She has another child, so we can only assume that, she was either pregnant or she took Derek's goodies. But she ends up falling in love with someone that also had the tragedy hit their life, and he's a widower. So the two of them find that connection in common, and he had to stop seeing her as much as he liked her because his child was suffering because of it. You know what I mean? That's where I feel like where Spirit was like, your actions have consequences, because it's just not me anymore. In my 20s, my early 20s, it was everything I did only affected me and my brother. But you know what I mean? It's just like, now it's like you really got to think like chess. Like, remember they're bringing up the chess game and how my son always thinks like 3, 4, 10 steps ahead, like his dad taught him. So I feel like that's what they're saying. It's like, you know what I mean? They're like, it's like dominoes. It's like, you push and then the rest fall. And I feel like that's what they're saying. It's just like everything is going back to where we're comfortable again. It's like, that's what I'm saying. Like new friendship, or, you know what I mean? I feel like there's pros and cons to every situation. Yeah, you can't always live in fear of things, but I feel like you really got to, and I feel like with the red dragon, I feel grounding energies. I know it's supposed to be a fiery dragon because it's Gemini, fire. Gemini is actually air, but, but they give that fiery temperance kind of energy. But the way that the wings are going in, I feel like this is Spirit pushing you together. So with lovers, it's two, so duality. And here again, what they're showing, more grounding energies flowing in easily. So the ebb and flow of things. So now you're going into a flow kind of thing because you've been in a lot of ebb. You've been purging a lot. So now there's flow coming back in. And I feel like you're being rewarded for good acts. You know what I mean? It's like, that's not why we do it. But, you know what I mean? It's like, embrace that. Let the universe spoil you. Let the universe give you gifts. Let the universe... it was another word. It wasn't spoil... There was another thing. I just feel like reward you. I feel, you know what I mean? But it's like you weren't looking for a reward. That's who you are. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's why I'm saying there's karma coming around here. I feel like they're also showing, like, if you look at the classic tarot card, if you see the Two of Pentacles and the figure is like off foot. So maybe you find yourself dizzy, or, you know what I mean? And I feel like, with this situation, I'm just very thankful that, I was able to go through that situation, and, you know what I mean? It's just like, make the most of it. There's nothing we could really do about it. We did the best we could, and that's all we can do. That's all we can do in life sometimes, is that things get thrown at us and we just, come together and get through it. They are showing the Ten of Swords, so maybe you've been doing a lot of work where it's like, you know what I mean? It's just like you're not letting other people's nonsense affect you. You know what I mean? It's just like we are doing the best that we can. You know what I mean? We don't need people making it harder on us. And unfortunately, there are, because they don't want to put the work in, but how dare you do it? You know what I mean? And that's not your problem. It's like releasing what does not belong to you. Allowing those things to lift out of your life. Where I'm always the problem solver and I always want to take care of people. And some people, you know what I mean? It's just like, no matter if you give them the sun, moon, and stars, they will never be happy. And they're very narcissistic, and I feel disrespectful. You know what I mean? And once you see that, it's like lessons have been learned. You see the pattern, let go and let God. Just wish them well, and you know what I mean? If you paths cross, and just keep to yourself. I'm not sure if this Three of Swords should be in reverse. Like, when I got the Ten of Swords in reverse, I'm like, but kind of going to this Lovers card where they were showing Meredith and that doctor hooking up, or like trying to get together, because, like, even Ed and Nancy say that in the grief group, like they met each other and they're together, is that no one will understand your situation more than someone that's been divorced or separation or unfortunately a bereavement. So that's where I was like, maybe that's where that Three of Swords comes in, where it's like, if this is a connection and you are being pushed together by universe, it's like, do I move forward with this decision, or do I hold off because I still got healing to take place? Because Amber Lantero said that as well. She's just like, and I was shocked she said that. I'm like, really? And I'm like, well, I don't know. You know what I mean? I've never been in that situation. So, and the one person I did talk to, I did definitely felt guilty. Um, but another one didn't feel guilty at all. You know what I mean? But I don't feel like it was reciprocated. If it was very hidden, but doesn't matter. It wasn't the right situation. But you never know. That's where I'm like, I feel like this should still stand as the Three of Swords in the upright position, where because Amber came in and that situation with Meredith. I know they're TV shows, but they're just giving that scenario. That's if you're a healer, they use your experiences to help you, you know, get messages across. This is another reason why I feel like this should be upright, because I feel like temptation, and I feel like because it's like you should be doing things the other way and you're choosing to go this way. You're choosing, I feel like, lust in a way. So maybe this person is married, or in your heart of hearts this is not a relationship you should be in, or even entertaining, or a connection, or whatever the heck this is. You know what I mean? But it's like, that this is not something, you know what I mean? Lessons have been learned. I swear to God, that's all I'm going to hear the rest of my life is Anastasia. Lessons have been learned. Why are we repeating cycles? But things to look forward to is celebrations. My sister's birthday is coming up at the end of the month. So, and her son's playing baseball and they're doing a baseball trip. So it's just like, you know what I mean? There's lots of things to look forward to. And that's what I was saying. Like, even with the chaos, a lot of beautiful things still happens. You know what I mean? And it's just like, thanking the universe for being spoiled. You know what I mean? Being open to being spoiled and, thankful for being spoiled. You know what I mean? This is where it's like, people don't fill your cup, the universe fills your cup. You're going through a season of overflow, and take it all in, take it all in. Even if you gotta drink it, take it all in. They're showing like showering, like with your clothes on. It's like you're showering, you're taking it all in, you're just being showered with it, and then it's like put in your mouth, you're spitting it out and stuff. It's like you're showering outside. So when we went to school with, there's a picture of her dad doing that. It would rain and they would be showering outside. I thought that was so funny. 12:12 on the timer. So you know what I mean? It's just fun situations like that. Very playful. Two of Cups again, balance, but pouring equally into each other's cup. You know what I mean? Very lovers energy, like the Unity Cup, where here it's, you know what I mean? And I feel like this is highlighting people, relationships in your life where equally pouring in. So I feel like that's going to be something that changes. Where it used to be like you're constantly, they're showing like bailing buckets of water out, it looks like of a boat. You know what I mean? And I feel like this is where, you have all this overflow and it's just like now equally, you know what I mean? They're saying partnership. So, you know what I mean? Emotional partnership. That's what I'm saying. I don't feel like lover. I don't feel like partner. You know what I mean? I don't feel that. I just, they're like inappropriate partner. Good gravy. If you're really someone that absorbs energy, I feel like you got to be real careful here. I feel because I feel like this may mess you up. I feel like that's why they're saying the Three of Swords. Like that's why I was just like, what do you mean the Three of Swords? We're healing. We're healed, and it's like, are we though? Oh my gosh. But Wheel of Fortune, things are moving forward. I love the rooster. So me and my son went to Canadian Tire. He always buys like the airsoft rifles and stuff like that from there. And I saw the rooster, and it's like made out of like I guess tin. Very cool. Like you could see them right now, especially like they have the peacocks and all that stuff. I cannot wait to have those kinds of things in the like a beautiful garden with all that stuff. But we call him Kokosher. I thought my son called him something, and I thought it was Kokosher, right? And we follow the Hebrew faith, so I thought it was cute. I'm like, okay, Kokosher, and he's like, that's not what I said. I'm like, so I've called him that since. My son comes up with the craziest names, but I don't even know what the real name was supposed to be. I'll have to ask him, but that's what I thought of when I saw this. But wake up call. I feel like because the roosters, I'm hearing it caw. So they're also showing the Chosen. Maybe the Chosen is significant to you, where he tells, Peter that, I tell you that, like, before the crow caws, you will deny me 3 times. So three of swords. I don't feel like it's that deep, but I feel like it's just like, maybe your early bird. Like, I'm definitely out of my element with the way I wake up right now. But even when I was healing full time before all this, got sunny and everything like that, it's just like, It's like I would be done readings at 4 in the morning and I'd be up at 10 again. So, you know what I mean? It's just like when I can, I do enjoy it though. I like seeing the sunrise and everything. The colors of the sky, the lilacs and the pinks and it's just beautiful. Anyone that I remember going with my friend Ryan and his sister, and we went to the beach to watch the sunrise, and all the geese were there with their goslings, and we took so many pictures. I was just like, oh, my heart. You know what I mean? But beautiful experiences like that. You know what I mean? So maybe that's what they're talking about. But things moving forward, calling to your attention. Very judgment card, which is the next card. Getting a lot of judgment cards, calling to your attention, leveling up. I love her wings. That's so cool. Very Black Swan kind of energy. But again, I feel like this is like maybe in your dreams, like a meditation. So like a soothing song being played to soothe you to sleep. So maybe this is like white noise that you may play. But also I feel like keeping you in alignment. You know what I mean? Like I definitely healing sound healer Cody. His anxiety one I play before work and after work, like before I go to bed. And it's just because things have been just like, you know, nuts. And I'm like, I need to keep myself in a good space because I need to be in a good space for, you know, the people that I depend on me. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what it is. It's just, you know, and this could be like, you know, that's where your channel messages come in. And the thing is, when we pray and we're having conversations with God, we're yakking. So when we manifest, you know, they're saying that this is when we receive messages. Also, when you're open to it, like even with myself, like I knew I was tired. Like even today, you know, I'm watching Twilight Escape and or Eclipse, and you know, I was crying at a beautiful moment that Bella shares with her mom, and my son's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm just tired." You know what I mean? It's just like, you know. That's why I feel like it's like, you know, when you're tired, it's like learn to rest. Like, you know, learn to be quiet. Learn to stay still. You know what I mean? It's just don't push yourself. That's the thing. It's just, I know with myself, if I'm not in perpetual motion, sometimes I feel like I'm lazy and I'm like, girl, sit the F down. Like, you're not. You know what I mean? Even though you hear that, it's like, you know, because you probably, I know I've heard it in my life. You know, oh, you're lazy, you're this, you're that. And it's like, really? You know what I mean? But gotta rip that narrative out. Last card is Justice. Again, balance in the scale. So a lot of the cards that we got were balance. You know what I mean? And that's the biggest message here. Like even lovers, like because there's two of them, duality, like it's still balance. Two of Pentacles. You know what I mean? It's just like bringing back in that balance. You know, and I feel like don't be so hard on yourself because, you know, things haven't been moving forward because they're about to move forward again. Funny enough, the monkey. I'm a golden monkey in the Chinese astrology, but you know, I love dragons, but I feel like conquering like Dragon Slayer in that way, even though I love dragons and everything, love her headdress there, but you know what I mean? So something legal may be coming up here. Justice finally being served, slaying demons, you know what I mean? I just feel like, you know what I mean? I feel like it's like you've gone through everything and it's just like, you know, still got that momentum to keep going forward. You know what I mean? Like, you know, that's all you can do. Just be thankful for where you are in life, and you know what I mean? Like the things that we're enjoying now, you know, we were once praying for. So be thankful for that. But it looks like, you know, we're going through that winning era. We're going, you know, they're showing Charlie Sheen winning, not in that kind of way though. You know what I mean? But it's just like, just be thankful for being spoiled. You know what I mean? Be thankful for these cycles that where it's just like one thing after another, and it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, you asked to be spoiled, here it comes. Like I said, you'll be showering in it, singing in the rain. There's a good song. So I hope you guys enjoyed this quick card pull. And the universe bless you good.